I'm gonna wait for the full time.
And hello, everybody, and welcome to the Stronghold podcast. David, episode 69.
69.
You actually,
nice.
you insisted a little too hard on this being episode 69. I was a little confused at first.
Yeah. Well,
You made a really big point that it had to be episode 69 that you came on the podcast.
well, I saw you were close, so.
So, David Wee, everybody, black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You're judo black belt as well, too,
Yeah,
right?
I got that first.
Oh, you did?
It's easier to get that.
Is it?
Yeah.
How many years did it take you?
Technically longer because I did judo as a kid, stopped, and then, but like when I decided I wanted to do it, like I got it in the UK and you just have to go and beat some people at a grading day.
What's a typical progression from white to black? Like, let's say you start as a young adult or like maybe a late teen or something like that.
Like time wise,
Assuming that like a regular training schedule like you might do for BJJ.
Look, it's definitely not 10 years. I know people for whom it's taken that sort of time. But I think if the way I graded in the UK, you should be able to do it in about 5 years.
Okay, so it's about half the time as BJJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, BJJ takes forever.
Yeah, I know.
How long did it take you to go from white to black in jiu-jitsu? We're going to have to pause this. Immediately, everybody, our alcohol has arrived. As you can see by the joy on my face, I have to go collect it, and we will be right back, and I will edit this shit out. Be right back. Hello, everybody. We are back to the Stronghold podcast. Sorry, I had to stop and go get beer. This was an emergency, because Jake was like, "This is episode 69, Luke. You didn't have beer? Are you an idiot?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's so stupid."
I was expecting beer, cigars, like costumes,
cigars?
Everything.
I used to.
Okay, I don't have any, so. But next time. Once you said you didn't want to drink, I was like,
episode
okay.
420 can be in Cuba.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, dude, so I was asking you, how long did it take you to get your black belt? Like, when did you start training jiu-jitsu? You started here? Or?
Yeah, it's a long time ago, man. I started September 2008, and I got my black belt March 2021, so nearly 13 years, pretty much.
Did you have a long period of time where you stopped training?
I had a long period of time where I was at uni and I cared more about partying than training. I was telling Jake actually, like when I was at university, I was very I was with like wasn't close, but it was driving distance to Braulio Estima's school, and basically never went. Which
you had other interests, let's say, at the time.
Yeah.
Of course, as you do.
You know, and
I didn't train much when I was in college either. I mean, at that point in your life, you're, especially how did you just moved out? Was that the first time you'd like left your parents' place?
Yeah, and I did a lot of
common.
judo at university though because it was like on campus, and so the jiu-jitsu side suffered, but I guess the judo part didn't.
But at least you got some takedowns out of it, man. I mean,
yeah.
I know you're not a dirty guard puller, so that's why you're welcome in my house.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, I want to shout out Ben.
Is this a dirty guard puller?
Yes.
Ben, sort your shit out, Ben.
Yeah.
Nobody likes a guard puller, okay?
My wife does.
So it took you, that's pretty, actually we started around the same time. I started in 2006, I think, around 2006. But I'd wrestled for a few years before that. And then when I took somebody down and then they would choke me with their legs while I was on top of them, I was like, hold on a second. I have to learn this shit. Like, I just thought being on top was winning. Right?
Yeah, same. Like, I remember the
what was your first, like, oh shit moment in jiu-jitsu where you're like, oh, what the fuck just happened? Like, I have to know this. Right?
So, as I said, I did judo a lot. I did it like for 5 years as a kid. So I showed up to, I actually showed up to my old judo school and they had jiu-jitsu there. And I rolled with Sul, Mohammed Sulaiman. He was my first role. He was a purple belt at the time.
Oh, I just met him actually because I did the judging for one.
Yeah.
He was super nice. He showed me everything, took me around. He was like the sort of dude that just held my hand and walked me around. He's like, this is here and this is here. And I was like, oh, you're so nice.
Yeah. No, he's someone who I, under no circumstances, want having a hold of me. So.
Yeah. He's a black belt, right?
He's so good.
Really? Interesting.
He's one of the most talented people out of Singapore.
Oh, I haven't rolled with him.
I
want to roll with him now.
So he was my first role, and I thought, like, I've got childhood judo. I can just hold this man in cause you have groundwork in judo. It's like, I'll just hold this man in scaffold, and he puts me I'm just like, but I'm between his legs. So what can I do here?
Yeah.
And then he's just sort of like playing around, like sort of breakdancing in my mind, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm sold.
Yeah,
I need to learn this.
Yeah, and he's way smaller than you.
Yeah, I mean, I was a kid at the
Younger
time,
then.
but, like,
Who gave him his black belt?
Lecky.
Oh, okay. Oh, I did not know that. I knew he was a black belt when I met him, but I didn't know who gave it to him.
Yeah, he probably got it late. Like if we're like he.
When did he get it? Do you know? His black belt. Get him on the podcast. That would be awesome too.
Yeah, I think between 2015 and 2017.
Oh, so he's one of the first. He's Singaporean, right?
Yeah.
So he's one of the first Singaporean black belt, like that first generation.
Yeah, I think there was.
There's now about 10 or 15, I think, black belt Singaporean.
I was trying to work out what number I was, and then I was like, oh, okay, it's too high.
But something like that, right?
Yeah.
What would you guess if you had to guess how many Singapore-born black belts here?
I'd say under 20.
That sounds right. Yeah, that sounds about right. Over the last 5 years, though, it's
like
just gone up exponentially.
Yeah, but I think it's under 20, and I think it'll start growing again. I think a lot of people, COVID's held a lot of people back.
Yeah, for sure. Even the gym now, like my gym now, is starting to get busier. There's competitions in JB and KL and Bangkok, and people want to go do that, and there's fights again, and so you can feel the general energy level in Singapore is just starting to get nice again.
Yeah.
We were saying on the last podcast, like, oh yeah, Singapore's actually fun again.
Yeah, no, I walked through a mall entrance that was locked for 2 years, and I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Bliss.
No masks on outside.
Yeah.
Once they get the masks off indoors, then things are finally going to get nice again. What was it like, man? I want to ask you because you will have started training in Singapore before it was kind of cool, right? And like before the scene had exploded.
Yeah, I was a weirdo.
Like back, white belt David was weird as fuck. That's what it was, right?
Yeah. White through black belt. Oh shit. Yeah, before then, so I've worked out I started training just before Evolve opened, so it was definitely not cool because like 18 people knew what jiu-jitsu was basically.
Yeah. Before Evolve and 1 here in Singapore, there was almost nothing, right?
Yeah, so there were like 2 schools. So there was Jason with BJJ Singapore, and then there was where I trained, which was Creation, which was run by Con, or started by Con. And it was like at my old judo club, so I was fairly familiar with the place. Like I'd stopped training judo for 5 years and I came back. But it was quite cool. So it was when I was in the army, so I didn't have the I didn't have the time to train enough, or as much as I would have liked. But at the same time, there weren't classes.
Yeah.
There weren't that number of classes. That there was Monday night was MMA. Tuesday night was beginners jiu-jitsu, which started after I'd started. Wednesday no gi, and then Saturday was gi class. And so in my first class as well, a couple of people got promoted. So I thought well, this must happen every week.
Yeah.
And
6 months later, you're like, where the hell is my first stripe?
Yeah.
Can I have my piece of white tape, please?
Yeah.
Who do I got to impress around here?
Yeah, no, it was quite cool. It introduced me to the idea of a jiu-jitsu grading as well. Now when I grade people, I want it to be as theatrical as possible.
Yeah,
because the way they did this one was
it sticks in your mind, right? When you see the first promotion.
I know Scott Calver got his purple belt that day, which was again purple belt in 2008 in Singapore. He was
exactly.
And I think it was a guy called Joe getting his blue belt. And what our coach did is he blindfolded both of them and it was like, well, guys, in competition you need to be able to listen to your coach's voice.
This is some old school shit.
This
is some old
you
school
need to be able to listen to
training.
your coach's voice and do. So I'm going to corner you, Scott, and then someone else is going to corner Joe. And
you saw this on your first day.
This is my first day. and so then they were like, okay, so we're going to take off your belts and you're going to need to crawl and be directed to find your belt. Once you find your belt, you put it on, and then you can fight and find your other guy. And Scott got his on first, but they both managed to get their belts on before they looked lost on the mat trying to find each other.
Yeah.
And then they fought each other, and then it's like, okay, guys, well done. Look down, and then they've tied on purple and blue belt.
Oh wow!
Respectively.
That is very theatrical.
That is.
That is
I've never seen that.
Theatrical promotion.
I know. So
I need to up my game. I feel like.
Yeah, I've yet to up the.
Yeah, we need to do that. We need to do that. We need to be trendsetters.
Yeah.
What's a more theatrical way to give somebody a belt than by blindfolding them, having them crawl around, tie on a belt, spar, then take the blindfolds off? Oh my God, it's my new belt.
This was how every belt happened. It was like after that, every belt happened. It was basically like 9 people would jump on this guy, and then the black belt would tie his new belt around him, and then we were happy. It was like, oh, that's cool.
What's your move? What's your promotion move? Like, how do you do it? Where you can give somebody a belt?
The thing is
every coach does it differently.
Yeah, the last one I did, I had a thing with my, well, I still have a thing where I don't believe in stripes, but I give them out but I tell them specifically, like, I give these out for making me laugh. So in our group chat, I'm like, okay, cool. There is a meme of the month, and whoever puts out the best meme and makes me laugh the most will get a stripe at the end of the month.
So based on the skill of their jiu-jitsu, clearly.
Yeah,
that's why.
It's about as about as relevant as stripes are for jiu-jitsu skill anyway. So some dude he had made me laugh like quite a lot the other day. So I was like, okay, cool. So I gave him. I was like, you've got the meme of the month stripe. So I'd bring him out. I'd make a big speech, and tie a stripe around his belt. And then I got Chance, who was there as well, who's like, we were like, oh, that looks terrible, doesn't it? And Chance pulls out the blue belt, and we're like, yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, so there's a little misdirection.
Yeah, the other one we did was we had like a husband and wife. The wife was a blue belt, the husband was a white belt. So we gave Brian his blue belt. And we're like, okay, cool. So how does it feel to be the same grade as your wife? And he was like, well, it feels quite good. It's like, well, remember this because it's going to last 10 seconds.
Nice.
Gave Kim the purple. But yeah, no, any theatrical ideas, I'm very open to them.
Yeah, no, it's good. No, that sounds like a fun vibe. Yeah. With the jiu-jitsu gyms, I don't know how it was when you started, but like from an American context, sport, especially when you're like a teenager, or in your 20s, it's just so much more like machismo and people in there beating each other up and shit like that. And I just never I didn't understand what it was like until I moved here to Asia and started training with like the Thais. And some of the Brazilians got it too. Some of the Brazilians also just rip your fucking head off. Depends on their mood and depends on who it is, right? But when I started training with the Thais, they're very playful and they make loud, they make loud poking and they're fun and they're playing with you. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize training could be fun. I thought it was just supposed to kill me and I was supposed to leave and then want to come back here, right? But then somewhere over the last 10 years, I feel like the jiu-jitsu culture changed. It used to be way more bro-ish and way more like, the white belt comes in and then the blue belts are going to fuck them up and this kind of culture, you know what I'm talking about, right? But it feels like over the last 10, 15 years, maybe 10 years, I would say, of jiu-jitsu, that there's generally just a much more like, you need to make people want to be here type vibe. It has to be fun. And it used to be like you had to earn your keep. You had to like do the gauntlet and have 10 people go in a row and you had to spar with everybody in the room and have them beat the shit out of you when you get a new belt with a fucking belt, right? There was always just this culture of like low-key abuse, right? Yeah. They used to give you the cauliflower ear. The Brazilians would rub their gis on your ears to give you cauliflower ear. And this kind of stuff transcended even to like American jiu-jitsu culture. But over the last like 10 years, it feels like it's getting way more just professional, way more fun, way less. Like when I was growing up, you couldn't sit out around. Like the idea of sitting out around was like blasphemy, and your coach would disown you if they saw like you're just supposed to roll when you're tired. You're supposed to like now. Like, if you're just tired, just sit down, chill out for a minute, come back. It's fine, right?
Rest when you're dead. Come on, man.
Yeah, exactly. Is this person literally dying on the mat? Yeah, but what do you think? Have you observed that? What was it like in Singapore before, like in the old days?
It was always like I always thought it was really very chilled out, and I thought like like I said, I did judo a lot as a kid, and in judo as a kid you line up and you bow on Japanese commands, and then I went to this jiu-jitsu class and everyone's just like sitting around stretching before, like no, I wasn't stretching, I still don't warm up, but you just doing nothing, and then the end of class is like, okay, that's it guys, and then you just sat against the wall and talk shit for another half an hour, and I was like, oh, this is cool, and then like you don't, like, if you need, I feel like if you need to be whipped by a belt to feel tough.
Do you do that?
No.
Do you do the gauntlet?
No, I was whipped for none of my belts.
You weren't whipped either.
I've never been whipped.
Yeah, it's the people that got whipped that want to do it, obviously.
Yeah.
Right? I got whipped, but I was like, guys, you don't have... I tell people they have the choice. Some people like it. Some people are like that.
Yeah.
They like a little punishment. They're probably into some weird stuff in their personal lives.
You
know what I mean? They like... So for those people, I'm like, I'll indulge you if you like it, if you want it. But like, don't feel pressured to like have... nervous about... Like, I remember people being nervous and scared about it. And then if the people, there's always the freaks that are into it, and they're like, oh yeah, hit me as hard. You get a few of those. But then you look and you would see someone that was just like kind of cowering in the back, and I'm like, why would you go through this ritual? You should not have to. It's so stupid.
It's the crazy guys who, you're gonna get whipped, but if you've got a gi on, you're like, fuck, it's not gonna be that bad. The gi's gonna take most of it. Or the people who take the gis off to prove how hard they are, like you.
And there's always this asshole. Ron is this asshole, by the way. There's always this asshole who will tie a knot in the fucking belt.
Oh, Ron.
And I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why do you feel the need to do this? And then, of course, when Ron got his purple belt, when we gave him his purple belt, he literally does what Ron does, take his shirt off, walks through slow motion,
eyes,
never makes a fucking face the whole time, right? Took it like a man.
Eye contact with every swing. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen it go on.
No, Ron's like my favorite psycho. He's my favorite psycho human.
But yeah, like I said, like I think if you need to, be whipped or go through like some ridiculous stuff to feel tough or to feel like you're getting tougher from doing jiu-jitsu, then the rolls you're having probably aren't good enough.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Because that's where I feel like I got tougher. Like, and it definitely made me tougher. I can pinpoint times when I was 18. I was like, well, like pure cowardice, and then like now exactly that. Like I've gone through 12 years of just getting beaten up in an organized and fun
controlled sense.
Yeah, controlled manner.
Yeah, you know what drives me crazy are those fucking you can't teach heart bullshit hyperfly people. That shit drives me crazy. Every time I see one of those, I don't want to shoot that person. I want to shoot myself in the head. I'm like, who says you can't increase your heart or your toughness or your overall? That is the biggest lie in like just little ad line. Hyperfly, hook me up, sponsor me. But your tagline is bullshit. I used to be so like meek and just quiet and everything, shy, and I used to think I was a pussy, like a bitch. I remember one time when I was a brown belt. Marcelo, you remember Marcelo?
Yeah, I know.
So I go and roll with him in Italo. Oh, you did? Yeah. Oh, all right. We're old in the scene. I'm starting to forget all these matches and stuff. But anyway, so I was rolling with Marcelo and Italo and Bruno and all those guys, and then had a tough roll with Marcelo, and then I literally remember him like having a conversation and him being like, "Man, you're so tough. You're such a tough roll." And I was literally like, "Really?" I literally had no perception of myself in their eyes as being a difficult role. Because I'm getting fucked up left and right, by most of them. So then he said that, and it was genuine, and he wasn't... and I was like, oh, wow, I've actually... someone's saying that, and I was not like that before. Even in their, like, my relationship with them as a brown belt, I never thought that I was perceived as anything other than just the weakest coach on the team, right? Because I was the brown belt and everything. Then I was like... This idea that people can get so much tougher, so much heart. Like, this idea that like there's a base level and you either have it or you don't is such nonsense.
No, and like you said, like I used to think I was like I used to think I was like weak, like physically weak, and then like two things actually made me like change my perspective on that. One is like I saw a couple of people on Twitter like have a conversation about both of them fight me. They both beat me. Right, and they're both. I think I fought them both in like an absolute division. So they were like, this was in the UK. So and they were both way bigger than me.
Is this judo?
This was jiu-jitsu, but like the one of them I did like I hit a big throw on, and then proceeded to lose like badly. But both of them were like, hey, that guy on the podium with you. He was I fought him once. He was he quite strong? And the guy was like, yeah, he was so fucking strong. I was like, oh, maybe I'm strong.
Yeah, isn't it crazy? But, you never know if you're living your subjective world and then you don't perceive yourself as because you of course perceive as a human all of your faults. Those are always the first thing in your mind. But it's also
like
right?
that's your standard.
Yeah, exactly.
That's your standard. Like I feel exactly the same in my body as I felt like when I was like 7.
Exactly.
I feel like I might as well be the same size.
You still have that mentality as an adult, right? Like,
so yeah, like you know, maybe this is body dysmorphia or something.
well, I think everybody's just hyper aware of how they perceive their faults, and then so when somebody compliments you and it's genuine, and there's somebody who opinion you respect, all of a sudden you're like, oh, it kind of gives you a little bit of maybe a pleasant view of yourself, especially like in our industry, right? If you're doing jiu-jitsu, you get smashed so much, right? You just get smashed years and years and years getting smashed. And then, so even though you're going up the ranks, you're still getting smashed throughout the process. So when a coach takes you to the side or something like that and actually compliments you, it's like, it is a little bit of like, oh yeah, we've actually got somewhere here. Yeah. You need those moments, right? It gives you a little juice, gives you a little energy.
My old, I remember once as well, like I was helping, I was at my university's judo competition. And so like a university, when you start a sport that like, you're completely new to it and stuff, so you get all sorts of people trying it. And this guy like came and tried. He went to his first competition. He had his first match and he lost, but he came off the mat and he went up to my coach, who was really experienced, really awesome coach, and he was like, "Man, that guy felt so strong." And my coach was like, "Look, yeah, he probably did, but you know what? That guy thought you felt strong as well." Because and I was like, oh, "That's probably true." Like and then at that point it's like. After that, like, you know when you've been, like, big brothered.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? But you also know it's been a while since you've been big brothered. And you're like, okay, cool. That guy was strong, but he thought I was strong too.
Yeah.
And then, you do occasionally roll with the freak who is like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, just one of those guys.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you need coaches around, because you only have a subjective view of yourself.
Yeah.
Right? When you have a good coach who's seen tons of people come through, and people have different body types, different personalities, different work ethics, all of this kind of stuff. But when you have an experienced coach who's seen so many different things, and they look at you and they actually assess your skills and where you're at and what you need to do, and you stick with them for a long time, you have a much better sense of like what your progress is, how you're actually doing. But it just didn't used to be like that when I was training. Like, it was so, in the old days, it was so hard. It was so brutal. Like, just to get even a little bit of something from the coaches was, especially those older guys, right? You get those coaches when I was in high school in mid-2000s or whatever, that were like in their 50s. Grew up in the fucking 70s or whatever. Like, those guys were not like, you're doing a good job, keep going, participation trophies for everybody. Those motherfuckers that grew up in like the 60s and 70s were not handing out participation trophies, right? Yeah. It was really like, especially America still has a quite elitist sport culture. They are all about winning, right? Yeah. It really is. You feel that even at the high school level.
Yeah.
And when I finally, as an adult, accepted like a martial arts lifestyle and decided I was going to change my job, it was because I realized, oh, this is like sustainable. You can chill train.
Yeah.
You can like, I don't have to come in here and die every day. Yeah. You can create like a healthy environment for people to come in, and you don't have to like rip your asshole trying to choke somebody fighting to the death. Yeah. Which is what it felt like when I first started, especially wrestling, because that was my first thing that I did was like amateur wrestling, and that is so much more unpleasant than jiu-jitsu. Like, jiu-jitsu is fun. Yeah. Amateur wrestling is not fun. It's a grind.
Same with judo. Like, speaking about toughness and stuff, I've always thought like you'll definitely get tougher doing jiu-jitsu, but there's like, you don't have to get necessarily as tough to be good at jiu-jitsu. Like, because it's so much more about technique.
It's so skill based.
Yeah. Whereas like with wrestling and with judo, I think the other thing is the like having, like physically having to stand back up. So right. when you go to like a good judo randori and some 22-year-old national squad player just throws you 15 times in one round, and you have to get up every time to fight again.
Take another one.
Yeah, but like mentally as well, like, being like on the floor, like on your back, looking up, and then getting up. That's a lot tougher to fight than, tapping to a triangle, literally sitting where you were when you got tapped to a triangle, slapping hands and going again.
Yeah.
Like that's a continuation.
Yeah.
Pretty much. You don't have to like psych yourself up to, for the inevitable killing again.
I mean, for me, getting thrown or getting taken down is the most humiliating thing. I'll tap to a rear naked choke, to a guillotine all day. If you throw me on my head, I'm walking out in shame. You know what I mean? I got no choice. So I think it's safe to say you're not starting many of your rolls on your knees at the gym.
No, well, not
assuming the
not
space
both on our
permits.
knees.
Yeah.
Not both on our knees. Someone's got to be filthy godful.
Yeah, exactly.
Episode 69.
Yeah.
How much emphasis do you put on stand up?
I'm starting to do a lot more. At the school I teach at the moment, we don't have a great number of classes. We get like one class in the evening, and so I think the thing with stand up is you can't tap out to being thrown properly. You have to learn to break fall properly.
Yeah.
And that's something I've definitely taken for granted. Like as someone who did martial arts as a kid, is like, if I look back and think of like what my judo classes were like, it was like 20% games, 30% break falls.
Yeah. It's
and
like
then a little bit more. And so like I've spent like 20 minutes every class twice a week for 3 or 4 years as a kid learning how to fall, which has definitely saved my life from my drinking days. But
breakfalling is underrated.
Yes.
People don't understand how important breakfalling is. You know who doesn't do it at all? Just a slight tangent, or Muay Thai people.
Yeah.
and you can trip left, right, and center, and these guys do not know how to fall.
Yeah.
You've seen arms break, people reaching back and stuff, and this sport where you could literally just dump each other left and right, they do zero teaching you how to fall.
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy. That's a really valuable human skill, especially as you're older, is like knowing how to fall.
But the reason like grappling and jiu-jitsu is a good sport to good martial art to do is because you can go balls out and train. You can train full whack, and the reason you can train full whack in jiu-jitsu is because you can tap out when your arm's about to be broken, and I think that break falling is the tapping out of being taken down. Because if you get thrown on your head, like, that's serious.
If you don't fall properly, you get fucked. You can get knocked out easily with a throw if you don't fall right. Arms broken.
You break your arm.
Yeah.
It's
happened many times.
You can break your legs. Like if a lot of people, they don't forward rolling break fall properly, and they like try and like when they do it in the warm up, they just think, I want to base up and stand up. It's like that's not the point. You're not trying to gain base out of being thrown. You're trying to avoid catastrophic
mitigate
injury.
Damage.
Yeah. And so I think...
Remember Mark Coleman and Shogun? Coleman took him down. He sticks his arms out.
Yeah.
Arm just explodes.
Yeah. And so, I think...
Jake, if you want one, they're in the freezer. If you want to run and grab your... We can keep going.
Which one of you wants the camera on him? Who wants the pressure?
Put it on David.
Yeah. So when... I think stand up... in order to do it well, you need to dedicate like a good time to break falls.
Yeah, you have to.
And at the same time, though, it's a business, and you've got to keep people. And break falls are boring to learn.
Yes. Do you do more upper body takedowns, judo style?
So I have.
How much shooting are you doing? How much like?
I've been going through some more.
This is the thing as a coach, right? You really have to think about how much time you want to prioritize for any given thing, because really being a good coach, is about how do you prioritize the time to make the learning process the most efficient as possible, right? So anything that you do, you could be doing something else. Yeah, you rip that up, man. Don't be shy with it.
Yeah, so I've been teaching stand up like exclusively lately, but I'm trying to teach it in a way where I'm not focused on like taking someone down. I'm focusing on grounding them.
Yeah.
Not as in a parent punishing their child, but like getting them from standing to the floor, and doing so, like for the students safely, for you, like making sure you're not hurting your training partner. So I'm doing a lot of stuff where we're trying to go through arm drag, get behind our opponent, and force hands onto the mat, and then hooking a leg and forcing turtle and stuff. Because at the moment, teaching people to break fall is, we don't currently have the time.
Yeah, that's the thing. You have to prioritize. Yeah. That's why. Do you have kids?
Not at the moment.
You got so. Let's talk a little bit about your
so
kid.
I'm opening a school, and we'll be teaching kids there. I've taught kids. I've taught kids a lot, and currently I'm working in an international school, so I do a lot of work with kids.
There's 3 of us now. You, me, and Major. All former international school teachers, all black belts with schools in Singapore.
Not a teacher. I don't have that qualification. I
You
coach. I coach.
Oh, I thought you were a
I
full-time
coach like
teacher.
strength and conditioning in the.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like a
school.
full-time teacher then.
Nah, man.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So
okay.
it's back down to
You're
2.
still a teacher. No. You're still.
Back to 2.
You're still.
Don't lump me in with you.
You technically work as an international school teacher. Listen,
Yeah.
you probably don't want to be in that group of people anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, I and with kids though, like theoretically, it's not their choice to train.
Yeah,
Like-
you sell them to the parents.
Yeah, you sell it to the parents.
To a
and-
point.
Yeah.
Because the kids, if they don't have fun, the parents will pull them out, especially the Singaporean parents.
Yeah, but you can, like I said, when I trained, it was like 20% games to warm up.
Yeah,
20% break falls, and so there's ways to do it with kids.
For sure,
You know,
yeah.
you can't play dodgeball with adults, sort of thing.
No, actually that happened one time at our gym.
I'm gonna say,
We literally played dodgeball.
why can't we do that? That sounds wicked.
And then the one time we were drinking on like a Friday at the gym, as we do pretty much every
Play dodge can,
no. And
dodge traffic,
And like this group of like 8 students, while we're sitting there drinking, found the dodgeballs.
Okay.
And then the drunken impromptu dodgeball game happened at the gym. So it can still happen, is all
Can
I'm
still
saying.
happen, okay.
Even adults will
Yeah.
act like children under certain circumstances.
if given an opportunity, not.
Yeah.
Given any opportunity,
Yeah.
they'll do it.
So yeah,
Have you done kids classes before?
Yeah, I have. It's
Because they're a trip. Kids
they
classes
are. But kids are funny, and like the other thing with kids is actually it really sharpens you the most.
It does.
Because especially when you have a talented kid, because you have a talented kid, you show them something, and they'll mimic it exactly, and then you'll be like, oh crap, that's what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah. You're like, oh, you just figured it out instantly by yourself.
Yeah. So so yeah, it is a trip, but you know.
Yeah, with the kids, it's just so much about like managing.
Yeah.
Managing them more than anything. Managing them in an efficient, professional way where they're having fun and also still you're tricking them into learning a little bit, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got to find the right games, haven't you?
That mimic that mimic the thing, which is fun. The kids here like it, and the martial arts scene, especially for the young kids here, is so dynamic now.
Yeah.
Because I mean, even my gym, I think we have 60, 70 kids.
Yeah.
Something like that. And the thing with kids programs too is they're a future investment in your business. You would be foolish not to have them if you were having any long-term plan.
Competitive interest, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And you get those kids become teenagers, and then once you have the kid from the age of 6 to about 16, and then all of a sudden they realize how good they are, and then the potential really will come out, right?
Yeah, but then, so I've had conversations about this as well. Like I think the problem with like having a kid who's like really good from age 6 to like age 14 is that at 14 you start being interested in girls.
Yeah.
And
No,
then,
you got to have the ones that stick through that.
and then
Some of them will fall off the rails at that point.
Yeah.
And then they'll come back when they're like 32 and like
Yeah.
obese and
it's like I could have been something. I was like, well,
I'm ready for my blue belt, coach.
Yeah. So yeah, they start getting interested in girls, partying, like
Yeah.
you know, being able to stick with it through that is hard. So
Yeah, this sounds like a personal experience over there, David Lee. It sounds like you're coming from personal.
I stopped. I did judo from 8 to 13, and then I was like, well, I don't want
Oh
to do
wait,
this
women
anymore.
are a thing. Yeah. Oh wait, jiu-jitsu sucks.
And then proceed to be terrible with women for many years anyway.
Yeah, that's the way that it goes.
But yeah, and you know, I think to myself like, what it could have been like if I'd like stuck through it through an extra 5 years. But I'm glad. Like the main thing is I did it. I think the main thing you want with kids is you want them to do it when they go through puberty.
Yeah.
Like when they're going through puberty, that's when like the benefits of it really happen because it's a tough athletic endeavor. You go like when the hormones that you know make you grow are going through you, and you're doing this thing that's tough, and you're fighting someone every week. Your body's like, well, this is what we need to adapt to. This is life. And so I've never met people who did like martial arts through puberty that are like physically weak.
Yeah.
Like and you can sort of, you know, and I did like university judo, and I was like, oh, you're pretty good. You're for beginners. Like, oh yeah, no, I'm just starting again. I stopped when I was like 13.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh okay. And then you see them like in the gym as well. I was like, oh okay, you're strong as hell.
There's a level of neuroplasticity and muscle
Yeah.
memory that you get when you're training with repetitions through that age that
Yeah.
you can't really get the same way if you're an adult that didn't do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like, it can be specific to a particular sport, but another thing is something like gymnastics that gives you a universal athleticism. People that are good gymnasts, that level of athleticism can apply to any sport.
Yeah.
So you think, I have these two kids that are gymnasts that train at Stronghold. This one kid was 8 years old when I met him. He could do a handstand to a split, hold himself in a split, open his legs down all the way around, and then hold himself up with his legs splayed out and his hands in the middle.
Yeah.
Like 8 years old. This kid, I don't care what sport you put him in.
Yeah.
He will learn anything faster than anybody because that's universal athleticism. Basic body strength and so much control in every position with his body. It's control. It's literally control over your entire body.
Yeah.
And if you can control your body, you're not one of those awkward people who, like, you say, grab your right hand and use your right hand to grab their left hand, and they put up their left foot, and they're like, you're like, no, your hand. And they're like, this, they're just literally like left hand. And they're like, which one is like, you know what I mean? You get those kind of people, and nothing wrong with that. No. But the people that have a really good base universal athleticism, that can be applied to anything. And something like, I feel like gymnastics is the best for that. That seems to be, in my experience, the most. They're always strong. They learn quick. Like
dancing as well.
Dancing. That was the other one. I was literally just thinking it.
I did gymnastics
because they know how to move their body. You did.
I was terrible. I was a terrible gymnast. But actually, then every other sport, like, I wasn't like some sort of super athlete, but I was like.
But you picked it up reasonably quick.
Picked up most things. Like, it's like, just move your leg like that. Right. Whereas, like you said, so you imagine like someone who can control their body really well, in a fight with someone who can barely control their body at all.
Exactly.
Like, it's not.
That's what I tell the parents when they come in, when they ask what the classes are for. We have the young kids. We have like the 4.5 years old to about the 7-year-old. That's our first kids class. And then we have the older class. And the older preteen, teen class is basically like an adult class.
Yeah.
Right? You can run it mostly like that. Slight differences, but it's pretty much the same. But the young class, we do a lot more.
It's just tumbling, really.
It's tumbling. It's body weight exercising. Because what I care more about than learning the moves is learning the coordination. Like these kids have to have basic coordination that will train. Then they're going to be able to learn the stuff. So they still do takedowns and stand ups. And mostly the young kids for me is a wrestling class.
Yeah.
Because I'm not teaching the 5-year-olds how to choke each other and shit. Right. I'm going to give them a few more years, and then I still do it. We'll still do it sometime.
Yo, you choke them personally. Right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But for the sparring classes, they're like, okay, you're on your feet, get up, get down, stand up.
Yeah.
Mostly stuff like that, and then a lot of sport specific, just exercises that teach them coordination. They still learn punches and kicks in the MMA class. They kick the bag and they hit the pads and stuff. And then the BJJ class, they're doing bear crawls and sit throughs and drop steps and hip escapes and and running down the mat. Right, basic stuff that teaches overall coordination that will then apply later. Because if you get some of those kids that have zero coordination and then you just even give them a basic command like grab here. Yeah. It's amazing how complicated that can be for certain people.
Yeah. No, I think that's the thing, right? So, lately, mainly only been teaching adults jiu-jitsu, and
who's going to teach the kids? You or your business partner?
I will.
That's the question.
I will. Well, Chance will help, but he's less of a kid person than I am because he's older, so he's less of a child.
I feel like you can teach kids pretty well.
Yeah. But with when you teach adults, it's you have to really deal with their limitations.
Yeah.
Like because you've had 40 years of living a life where you're not athletic, you can your kid can do a press handstand and hold an L sit in the splits for 20 minutes or whatever. This guy can barely open his legs.
Yeah.
And so you've got to adapt to that. And I think like what you're saying as well is you want the jiu-jitsu options or the sport options that they have to be as wide as possible. Because
for a kid that's the best.
Yeah.
Because some parents try to force their kids into it, and then some kids have general interest in it.
Yeah.
Right, and that's really what you want. At a certain point, when you see the parents want their kid to become something,
they'll never become.
And it gets a little rough to watch. Like the parents are way more into it than the kids are, and they're constantly talking to them about it, showing. And you see the kids kind of eyes are off in the corner, not really focusing on what. And then you have other kids that will come up and ask questions after class.
Yeah.
It's quite a big difference.
If you're self-driven, it's 10 times better than being.
That's why I tell a lot of the parents, be a little bit more hands-off. You'd be surprised how far it will get you. Because some of these kids, they know the parents are watching them the whole time.
Yeah.
And so they can't play. They can't have fun. They just got the eyes. And then,
Yeah.
you know, they'll go over and push a kid in the back. And then the parent will be like, hey, stop it. And I'm like, let them push each other a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, there's a line, but
Don't throw rocks at each other, but...
You don't want to be, even as a small 6-year-old, feeling the eyes burning into the back of your head the whole time. If you give them a little bit of freedom to explore and have fun, they might.
Yeah.
But if they constantly feel like your gaze is on them, they're tight and they can't open up.
You don't see like the graveyard of like failed jiu-jitsu prodigies that, you know, you see the Rotolos and you see like Mikey who...
Oh, the graveyard exists.
Yeah, but
that graveyard exists.
It exists, but, you know, that doesn't get on Flow Grappling.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no show on there called like who's number 756 who, you know.
Yeah, how many people... Well, where do you think... This is always an interesting question to me. Where do you think... Because I have an idea in my head about what's the minimum time that a regular person should train jiu-jitsu if maybe they don't love it, maybe they don't want to train it forever, but they have basic competency in a street fight where they could handle themselves over 99% of the population, unless you're dealing with a huge level of athletic difference.
Yeah.
The regular dude, right, that's around their age, maybe they're middle-aged. Like, how many years do you think you need to train to have the skills that will last you a lifetime in most situations?
3 or 4.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it.
Like, you know...
Mid-blue belt to low purple, somewhere in there. I feel
Yeah.
like you can handle yourself in almost any situation.
Yeah.
Like, no, sorry.
Go on.
As someone who's nowhere near like your two's level, yeah, I've not trained for almost a year now because I've got fucking problems. But like,
I'm bang average, mate.
Yeah, I feel if like someone, not that I'd ever look for trouble or anything like that, but if someone's having a go at me or something, I'm just so calm because I'm like, I'll just fuck you up. Like, I'll just, yeah, if you come at me, I know enough jiu-jitsu, even though I'm only a blue belt, that as long as you don't know any jiu-jitsu, you're not going to be able to like hurt me.
Yeah, if they're around your size,
yeah,
and they don't know anything, yeah, I think that's a good number, man.
But I even think like I'm not that big. Like obviously, if someone's a fucking freak, like 6'7",
then you're
and
like,
jacked,
I know jiu-jitsu.
yeah, bye. But even if they were like fairly bigger than me, I'd know enough that they, you know, that I'd be confident enough they couldn't hurt me.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. I'm not saying I'd fuck them up, but I'd be like, well, you're not going to actually be able to hurt me, I don't think.
And you can even something as not so simple as or not so glorious, let's say, of like, oh, I'm gonna fuck him up, I'm gonna choke him unconscious, but maybe you can defend yourself long enough until something happens, someone can help, someone can. That is so underrated.
I can manage the distance enough,
you
so
can
that they're
protect
not going to hurt
yourself
me, and I can run off.
Right, until whatever, someone could call somebody would come over, somebody would pull out their cell phone and start recording you. You know, you just need enough time.
Yeah, you're calm.
For it to get on stomp, and then someone will come save you.
I just want to make mothership.
Yeah, exactly.
No, yeah, you're calm. Like it's like, okay, cool. You know how to handle a confrontation because you've rolled with the 120 kilo wrestler who'll kimura. So it's like, okay, like that's not you. Like you don't have and like the de-escalation as well of it. Like,
yeah.
You know the way you hold yourself.
The de-escalation happens as you get older. I feel like when I was in my early 20s. You're looking for a reason sometimes to start shit.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? But as you get a little bit older, you're like, oh, I remember feeling, like, there was one time where I almost got in a street fight. Not almost got in a, but some dude was just talking shit, and I was talking shit, and it just got to the point where I was like, dude, like, I'm not, I literally was like, okay, fighting this person would be a waste of time. Like, what am I going to do, bash this guy's head in?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm obviously not going to do that. Like, what is the point of even getting into this verbal escalation? And then I was like, what am I gonna do, just beat up some dude who's just talking shit that doesn't have any clue? Like, I know this guy doesn't know how to fight, right? There's just no fucking way. Like, what, I'm just gonna hurt this guy that doesn't know anything? Like, in my head, you're like, yeah, that's what you'll do. And I'm like, that's fucking stupid. Like, I'm not gonna bash this guy's brains in, I'm not gonna choke him unconscious, just move on. Like, listen, but when I was younger, if that same thing had happened, you're looking for a chance to prove yourself, right? You're like, fuck this dude. Like, they owe you something if they disrespect you or whatever.
Dealing with the drunk person who's trying to escalate as well. Like, a while ago, I was out drinking and some guy was just being a dick. And then he came over and was like, you know what I mean? He was trying to start a fight.
You could just tell
and,
he was,
and like,
wouldn't let it go.
Yeah, like, I just didn't buy it. I just sat there and I was like, yeah, all right, mate. And I was so calm because I was like, well... Yeah, you're so drunk. What are you actually going to do?
And even if it escalated, like, what would you do? Are you going to beat the shit out of this
No.
guy? I mean, exactly. And it's like, why we even play this game of the ego being like, oh, you show him something.
Yeah.
What are you going to show anybody? You want to go to jail?
No.
Guess what? You bash this guy's head in Singapore,
Yeah.
you're going to fucking go to jail.
But
to teach a lesson, like, it's so stupid. But when I was young...
Have you heard the other side of this?
What's the other side of this?
So, have you heard Dan Hardy talk about this? He says he has a rule which is like...
Well, first of all, sorry to interrupt, but this is Singapore. If this is U.S., the culture for fighting is totally different.
Absolutely.
Like, I could actually hit somebody if they're talking shit and not be worried that I'm going to be locked up in a cage. But in Singapore, the dude talking shit, let it go. But what does Dan Hardy say?
Dan Hardy, I think he has a rule where he's like, I will never be, like, I will either be a 0 or an 8 in terms of, like, my intensity and, like, readiness to fight, so that whoever is on the other side of it knows. And he says that keeps him out of it as well.
That's a good way to think about it.
Because it, like, and I think, I don't know if that's the other side of it, but, like, yeah, he's either completely calm and he's, like, de-escalating, or it's like, you're not escalating above this.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
It's like, I can be both ends of the spectrum.
So the question is, have you ever been in a street fight?
I have, before I started jiu-jitsu, I was like...
How old were you?
16.
Yeah, that's about the age.
That sounds right.
I don't know. I don't know if I even call it street fight. Basically, I got jumped by a couple of guys at a party, and they just
started hitting you.
They just punched me like 9 or 10 times in the face, and then
two people at once.
Yeah, I was quite drunk. So, and then I don't know what happened.
Just turtle up. Like what happened?
No, and then
you started swinging back, turtle, defensive posture. Like what?
So what happened
drunk,
was,
you remember?
like it's sort of like I remember then charging. And then it was someone else who was like, "No, dude, I'm on your side. I'm on your side." So I get up and I just.
Oh, so you like grab somebody or whatever?
Yeah.
That was like.
So I see someone. I see one of the guys who I was like, I know he was involved. And I went. It was weird because I grabbed him like by the back of the neck and I was like, all right, I'm gonna. And then like 5 people jump on me, to hold me away from him. So he's like.
Is this here?
Yeah.
In Singapore.
And then so he gets back up and he has like a free shot and he just whacks me like one more time. So that wasn't ideal. But then
so that wasn't.
But like at the end of it I had like
said.
I had a slightly broken nose.
Oh yeah.
And then
that's not ideal.
Like my dad wasn't pleased, but I was like.
Was your dad not pleased because you lost the fight or because you got into a fight? Because this would be the difference between the American version of this story and the Singaporean version.
I was
here
actually...
you would be like, you're in trouble for fighting. In America, they'd be like, why did you lose the fight?
Because there were 2 guys. Come on, man.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
I've got a pass.
Yeah, you got to pass. That's true.
But he, I think he, like, I didn't want to get police involved or anything. I had a broken nose. Took me to hospital, and then we were fine. But yeah, I think like my dad would have like preferred it if I'd like we'd gotten police involved and stuff, and I was like, I'm no snitch.
Yeah, that's the Singaporean way though.
But
that's the Singaporean way.
But then after that, my dad was like, no, I want you to learn some self-defense. So found some dude who teaches self-defense, and then I bought a punching bag, and instead of going to a boxing gym and learning to box.
Here's a bag. Punch it until you're tired.
Whoa. I'm not that dumb. Okay, I watched Rocky 1 through 6 first. Okay.
So you did your prep work basically.
Yeah, basically.
You did your film study.
Because every fight, every boxing match is just haymaker.
Hey, you can't teach heart, bro.
And then both people.
You either have it or you don't.
Both people fall over at the same time, and one beats the tank, the other doesn't.
That's how fighting works.
That is. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Done.
You just come up as a basic novice. You do a hard training montage. You fight the world champion.
Yeah.
Split decision.
Yeah. Cool.
You win some, you lose some.
Need a cool nickname. And I never got that.
You never got a nickname?
No.
Oh, that's a shame. You didn't train with the Brazilians enough. You would have got one if you'd hung around them for more than 10 fucking minutes.
But then, actually, like my final day of school, I went to an international school. We had like a self-defense seminar, which was run by my old judo club. And Sewell came in, and I won't ruin his podcast for you, but like when, like Sewell's all kind of talented martial artists. He was like national sea life champion. So he was teaching us like.
Oh, I gotta train with Suleiman, man.
He was teaching us.
So fucking legit. I mean, I knew he was a black belt, so I knew he was legit in that sense. But I didn't know
he was like national sea life champion like 3 times. But so he was teaching us. Like the crazy monkey defense.
Crazy monkey defense.
Yeah, he was just like someone was trying to slap him. He was just like, whatever, cool.
He's just blocking, and for the odd people listening, he's blocking and slipping,
and then like we would like it was our final day of school, so we obviously.
So for people that don't know, sorry, Mohammed Suleiman is the head referee or one of the referees at one championship.
Yeah, the main thing I remember about learning the crazy monkey defense was like going out clubbing that night, and all of us were done. Like that was.
That was a dance move.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a dance move.
But then, but I got the calendar, and that's when I started like the calendar, and I was like, oh, cool, they teach MMA and BJJ. I want to learn MMA, and so that's when I went to train. But yeah, so I've been in a street fight.
Yeah.
And won.
I mean, he sounds more like you got jumped, to be honest.
Yeah.
Jake,
I wasn't allowed to fight back.
You got a street fight story? You must have. You were a musician. Somebody's punched you in the past for sure.
I've got.
And you're from Rotherham.
Yeah, I've got so many. It's ridiculous. Not because I'm hard or anything. I just grew up somewhere really rough.
Maybe you're just a dick, dude. What's the common denominator?
No,
you.
Right.
In every situation.
No,
Most 20 divorces.
Is it the wife?
Maybe you're the problem, Jake. That's the issue here.
The best bit is none of them actually normally involve me actually being in the street fight. It's just watching them. And I remember once, similar to your situation, 2 kids jumped my mate who was like called Dean. This is when we were 16, and he was like 6'3".
16 is the age.
Yep.
That's the universal standard.
6'3" and massive, and he jumped him on a Saturday night when he was
6'3"
hammered.
16?
Yeah, he was.
Your mate didn't stand a chance. Because they don't have any skills at 16, so whoever's bigger wins.
Or if he did.
No, but he was the bigger guy, and two little guys, same age, jumped him when he was hammered, sucker punched him.
Oh, I mean, that's the move. If he's a giant and you're just 2 regular people, you got to sucker punch that guy.
Yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, got lucky. They didn't even drop him. He lost his balance because he was hammered, fell over, and they kicked him on the floor for a bit. And then Monday rolls around, we go back to school, and obviously he's stone cold sober and pissed. And we like walk into the room that they're both in, and they literally like throw themselves at the floor at his knees, like, we're so sorry, we didn't mean to. It's like, you fucking change your tune.
They knew all fucking 6'3" of them was coming after him.
They knew sober 6'3".
Once you get them alone, then what are they gonna do?
They knew they'd fucked up. It was so funny. And then they went from like, they'd done it and they jumped him and they got him to the floor and kicked him a few times. They went from, we're so tough, to literally Monday morning, everyone laughing at him like, you fucking pussies.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the first time I ever got in what I would call a fight was in the gym. Because I'd never been in a street fight.
Yeah.
I de-escalate, honestly. I'm not that guy. I'm not that bro dude who gets drunk. Even though I like to drink, I've never been in like a drunk fight. I'm just not that person who escalates. So the first time I ever knew that I was in a fight was when I got dropped with a body shot. Right? Because I remember it was the first about 10 seconds of my first sparring round of all time. So I have a very keen memory of it. I was training at Adrenaline Training Center, which is this big mixed martial arts academy in London, Ontario, in Canada. And I don't know, do you watch the UFC? Are you pretty familiar?
I used to.
A little bit? So a couple of my old coaches were one of the biggest Canadian gyms outside of like Farasa Hobby and GSP. And Mark Hominick fought Jose Aldo for the featherweight title. I don't know if you're aware of who he is. And I trained at that gym. Yeah. So there's a bunch of like 3 or 4 UFC fighters signed at the time, and then I trained at that gym. I roll up into my first like Muay Thai sparring, kickboxing sparring class, right? And I think that I'm going to be treated like I would treat somebody who was in their first kickboxing sparring class, which is like, hey, I'm going to move around with you, just keep your hands up, pop, I got you, like a little bit of fun, everything, right? Like I play with the students when they're in their first sparring class, because I know, as you probably do when you do like introduction level BJJ, and too many jiu-jitsu instructors forget this. People are nervous sometimes when they come in. And it's so, and especially if you do it longer and longer, it becomes such a routine that you kind of forget that. But there's many times people come into a boxing class, Muay Thai class, jiu-jitsu class, whatever, they're nervous. Yeah. And even if they're like, hey, how are you?
I've been nervous to go and train like.
I still get nervous to train. If certain people show up, I'm like, fuck, here we go. Right? I mean, everybody can relate to that state. And then
I've been helping Mujik train lately, and I'm just like, oh, why am I doing this.
Yeah, sometimes you just know, you're like, I have to do this. I shouldn't do this. Why am I doing this?
Better qualify for ADCC.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so I'm sparring with one of the coaches in the first round, and he tells me that it's a boxing round. I think I've told this story on the podcast. He's like, okay, boxing only, or whatever. And then I'm like, okay, cool. And then I'm like shitting myself because I'm staring across from a professional fighter who's the coach of the gym, and I didn't think he was going to hurt me because I would never hurt someone else in that scenario, right? Yeah. And so I start moving around with him. I'm shitting my pants. I'm just like throwing my jab on the outside, like, oh fuck, because I've never had somebody punch back, so I don't know what to expect. And then I'm throwing. He grabs me, puts me in a tie plum, and knees me in the liver. It's supposed to be a boxing only round. This is in the first 10 seconds, 20 seconds of my first ever time doing kickboxing sparring, right? I was being hazed.
Yeah.
Right? It was a, are you going to come back type thing. Like, we're going to just hit you hard, boom, straight away. If you come back, then you can, we know that you really want to do this. It wasn't an accident. It's a boxing round. He fucking kneed me in the body, right? Yeah. It was clearly a hazing thing. It took me like a long time to understand how fucked up that was. Because you're coming in at the first experience. And this is going to lead to the question that I have to ask you. Because I like to ask this to other instructors. Yeah. What experiences, this kind of like asking a parent in hindsight how they would raise their kids, because your parents raised you, and you think when you're a parent, how would you do things differently? So I like to ask the coaches that are here, what experiences happened to you, or how would you coach differently so that the overall experience is more fun, so that people actually want to come? Because when stuff like that happens, you have a bad experience. A lot of times in Singapore, it's like relationship stuff. It's like instructors sleeping with students. There's a lot of toxic stuff that we've witnessed, I'm sure, over the last 10 years, 15 years of training. So I'm curious if there's anything to you where you don't have to describe an event or anything, but is there any particular thing where you're like, I would do it like this, and this is why I would do it that way? Because you have experience and you've seen, I'm sure, some shit over the years.
I mean, I've been on the end of like, I don't know, would you call it receipt? But like when I was a really spazzy white belt, I was rolling with this dude at the gym who was really good, and I ended up like hitting him in the nose, like early in the round, and then
was it boxing?
No.
It was jiu-jitsu. You just caught an accident or something.
Yeah, and then I think I like tried to aggressively knee cut or something, and I ended up accidentally headbutting him in the nose at the end of the round, and then like he was bleeding from the nose for a bit, and I was like, oh man, I'm so like I was like very obviously like quite sorry and quite remorseful about it, and he's like, yeah, that's cool, whatever, no worries. And then like 3 weeks later is the next time I see him in the gym, and I roll with him, and he leaves an armbar on, and he leaves an armbar on. And there was another, like, senior belt.
Like he held it too long?
After I tapped.
After you tapped? Oh,
fuck. So yeah. Like, it wasn't, he didn't break my arm.
But it was a message. It was sending a message? That's what it was, right? Sending a message.
He told me.
He told you.
That's what happens when you, like,
Oh, shit, really?
This is what happens when you hit me in the nose.
Oh, what a cunt. What a dick. What a little dick. Yeah, man.
Yeah, and, like, he's had issues with... He had issues with other people as well, so it's not. But yeah, I was like, okay, well, that's not something we want. And then another thing I've seen, like, I don't like mat bullies, and I think like my definition of a bully is like yes, obviously like picking on someone like smaller and weaker. But then, in addition to that, like, when you roll with me, you're just like, oh, I'm just trying to survive.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I've got no time for that. I've really got no time for that. So I think, like, yeah, just, like, making sure, like, you got a culture of people that are, like, good. And I'm not against, like, people who are needing to be taught a lesson, but not like that.
Yeah.
Like if a guy's...
How would you handle it? Like, what would you do? You see some guy who's being maybe too aggressive with one of the ladies, or a beginner, like, gets a little bit out of control.
I mean...
What do you do?
So
because you get that. I mean, you really have to balance these interactions that you have with people, right? Because you do, if you do it long enough, you get a few weird ones. You're like, what the hell is happening? How is this even an issue?
Well, I guess I'm like fortunate as well in that I'm quite a big guy. I'm quite strong, so I can, like, when I tell people about that, like, look, like.
Okay, can I rephrase this? No, sorry to interrupt you, but how much physical, let's say, discipline do you put as opposed to like speaking to somebody about it? Because in some sense, with the way we communicate is through jiu-jitsu, right? So these guys the guy that held the arm bar a little bit, that's more of a statement rather than anything, right? You get the mat bully or maybe the mat enforcer, the guy that thinks that like everybody's got to go through him. You see him get a little bit too rough. You know, when I started, somebody does that to you to teach you the lesson. Other people talk to you. How much merit do you put in like the physical disciplining of somebody who's maybe doing that to somebody who's maybe bullying somebody else? This is a tricky topic, right? I mean,
so if I'm okay, if I'm going to do it, if I'm going to say, hey, you need to be better. It's going to be then in a way that like it's not, they're not tapping, but they're like, oh God, I know.
You're willing to make people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
To a point.
Yeah, and not necessarily like pain, and not necessarily like I'm not gonna like top pressure the crap out of you, but I'm just like you're gonna have 5 minutes where I do whatever I want, and that's not like wouldn't hurt someone doing it, but like okay, and then there'll be a lot of like okay, you didn't tap there because I very obviously let go, sort of thing, because I think that's the kind of thing that like lasts in people. That's the kind of thing that's like lasted in my mind. It's like when people are that good or that much better that
there's no hope. There's
nothing
I
just couldn't do anything. And like so I think like that's the kind of thing. And
can I use a different analogy?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll use striking because maybe some people it's a little bit more. Okay, so you watch a student who's doing a boxing class or a Muay Thai class. Guy hits the other guy too hard, maybe being a little bit of a bully. You're going to go with him next. Do you drop him with a body shot? Do you hit him a little hard? Right? This is like the strike. I'm just giving a striking. Where do you put the physical discipline? Because in some sense, this is how we communicate, right? Isn't that weird? It's like we literally communicate by like, how much pain? And this is a funny like little coaching thing is you really have to be like, I do it all the time. Like, how hard am I going to roll with this guy right now? Yeah. Like, today I'm going to flow with him. Today I might not tap him out at all. The next time I'm going to he's competing. Now I'm going to tap him out every 30 seconds, right? Like, that's my wife. No, don't worry. No one's breaking in.
Maybe. Yeah, it's okay. We've got 2.5 trained fighters here.
2.5.
The poor dude.
He looked right at you, Jake. He literally...
No, I'll take half for this.
His eyebrows. Technically looked away. So, I mean, asking me from a striking perspective is... not ideal.
No, but I'm just using that to be more analogous to the... How much do you think it's acceptable to teach somebody I don't know. I don't want to...
I think a good leg kick is
a leg kick will do it.
Is the one. Actually, I have a good like...
To make them tap to knee on belly, are you that guy? You're like, I'm just going to knee on belly. You've been that guy. That's what you're trying to say.
I quite like making people tap to scarf hold.
Oh, yeah. Just
like
the chest compression.
Full Josh Barnett.
Yeah. Or on Alexei Oleinik, did you see?
Yes.
He got another one?
Yeah.
He gets
sneaky submission master.
No, the most recent one was the scarf hold. But he has both. He has both. He can do the chest compression and the scarf and the Ezekiel.
But yeah, I think actually like I'm gonna drop some names.
Oh.
So I used to work for the UFC, doing like athlete relations stuff. So I'd escort fighters to and from airports and stuff. So I was in Macau when Luke Rockhold and Michael Bisping were having beef, and it was before they fought the first time, and there was like Luke Rockhold had some bet with him, and I was like, and he was pissed off, and he was like, I hate that guy, and I was like, all right, but I'm like helping you get to the airport, buddy. Sorry.
Yeah. He was literally saying that to you.
Yeah. I was, and then he was talking to someone else. He was talking to Mike Swick about it. He's like, I can't wait to like get in the cage with him. I can't wait, but like I just don't know what I'm going to do to him. Like maybe I just like let him hit me or something.
Oh, he fucking said that?
No, yeah. And then,
or he gave across the. No, did he literally say that?
This was before their first fight.
Oh, before their first fight.
Yeah.
So Luke Rockhold won the first fight, and then the second fight.
But like what Luke Rockhold said was like, there's no like. I was like, I can't wait, and I know what I got to do to him, but like I've really got to make sure he's not getting submitted. I got to knock him out. Got to make that statement. And I was like, but what was his last fight? The fight he'd had before that was really cool. Where he
was that the Philippou body kick?
No, there was one in between. I think it was like Tim Bosch.
Tim Bosch.
He teabagged him, him.
Oh right. Oh yeah. Now I remember.
That was like fresh in my mind, and I was like, yeah, but the thing is, right? If you tap him out, like he's admitting you like that he's lost to you there.
Like, people somehow say that tapping out is like, it's somehow less glamorous than knocking people out.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
So I was just like, look, if you knock him out, like, great, like you'll enjoy it for sure. But if you make him tap, like he's the one
giving up.
He's the one who said you win. And then I was like, and also if you teabag him or him, you've got his ball. And then he ended up guillotining him. So,
but he dropped him with a head kick, right?
He did drop him with a head kick.
That was what happened first.
Bisping says there was a headbutt too.
I can't remember the fight. I only saw the fight when it happened. I don't.
Bisping maintains that there was an accidental headbutt and it fucked up his good eye. It's because blood was pouring into his good eye.
Getting kicked in it. That also
didn't help.
I don't know, man. That head kick was pretty flush, and Luke Rockhold kicks like a fucking mule.
Yeah.
I mean, that dude kicks hard.
Oh, his career's a bit disappointing.
At the end.
One of the greatest moments in UFC history is when fucking Bisping won the belt.
I know,
and Rockhold was so pissed afterwards.
Yeah, everybody shits on Luke Rockhold, and rightfully so. He's definitely kind of a tool, right? He kind of throws off like I'm a bit of a tool vibes.
When he won the belt,
his fighting is amazing. Like
when
his
he won
fighting,
the belt, though, I thought like that's the next dynasty.
Yeah,
because I think like he beat Weidman.
He beat Weidman, who beat Anderson, and then Weidman
Weidman made a serious fuck up to get beat. Was that the one where he threw the wheel kick?
He threw the wheel kick. Yeah. And then Rockhold took him down, mounted him.
The other thing with like Rockhold is his jiu-jitsu is so good.
That's what everybody says.
Like,
if you can mount Weidman, because everybody says that about Weidman.
Yeah, but he wasn't ever displaying it.
Yeah,
like because he was having fights where he was like trying to
crush people on the feet. Yeah, kicking everybody. His kicks were nasty.
Yeah,
that question mark kick.
Oh, dude, yeah. Rockhold's got some kicks.
So I thought like, oh, for sure, this is the dynasty. Like, and then, so I worked.
And Bisping of all people. No, it's one of those like the best feel good moments I've ever had for MMA, just because Bisping was also pointing out some pretty clear truths with Rockhold, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it has nothing to do with Rockhold's fighting ability, but he was just needling him just the right way.
Yeah.
Talking about how he sticks his chin up and how he's a
drops his
supermodel
left.
And he's this poser.
No, drops his right.
And then he starts shitting on him for being a model and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And Bisping's like a regular dude.
Yeah.
So he had the everyman quality going against the supermodel, fucking UFC champion who's beautiful and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And then it's like the easiest fight of his career.
Yeah.
Right? And nobody thought Bisping was going to win. It was one of the best. That one and maybe when I saw Randy Couture beat Tim Sylvia was like, Glover Teixeira. I'll give it to him too.
Yeah.
There's a few of those moments where
the underdog win.
Was it Brandon Moreno when he won the title?
Yeah.
There's a few of those like you just feel good when somebody and then you realize, oh yeah, what about the other guy? Like he's having the worst fucking day of his life.
No, but in that one, Rockhold was so ungracious in defeat. He was just apparently he was like demanding a rematch, saying to Dana, no, he was just unlucky. He's just unlucky. You've got to give me an immediate rematch.
The thing with the Rockhold thing, at least from a pure martial arts aesthetic understanding, is that his body language was like, I don't give a fuck. You're not going to do anything.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say
really
that,
was.
Right? That's what makes it so bad because it's one thing to talk a big game. I'm gonna walk through you. I'm gonna do whatever, but then you still expect these people to be on their fucking game and sharp and aware and still alert. And then he's just like chin up, kind of flowing on the outside, and then Bisping catches him easy. And it's like, dude, your body language is just so dismissive of this elite athlete. Like, I understand Bisping's not like Anderson or Rockhold in terms of the Weidman in terms of the long-term career, but Bisping's fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
And like,
no, I think there was a thing like before their first fight or something where they were both being interviewed, and Bisping was like, no, the thing is right, like we're both talking shit, but I am respecting him as an athlete, like I know he's dangerous. He and then he was like, he legitimately thinks that I'm not.
Yeah, that was it's like, what? This is Michael Bisping we're talking about. And I think the first fight was just too easy for Rockhold. And so he was like, it's going to go exactly the same
Short
way.
notice as well.
I was
and short for Bisping.
Yeah.
For Bisping only.
Yeah.
So I worked at the UFC event where Bisping fought Anderson Silva as well.
Oh, nice.
So what was
legendary
cool?
Fight.
What was cool?
You got to
about
see that live? That's sick, dude.
No, I was in the back.
Oh, okay.
I was in the back, but watching it on screen and being like, what?
Yeah, that was an amazing fight.
But what I thought was cool, I was like, I've just witnessed something that will be legendary, and then obviously nothing happened, was Rockhold had just beaten Weidman for the belt, and he was like the visiting fighter to be there. And they were getting weighed in, and they were doing the weigh-in, and I was in the back room where they're all waiting to go and be weighed in. Bisping goes to get weighed in, and like there's theatrics about it, and it takes ages. And in that time, like Anderson Silva and Luke Rockhold are like the only two people in there, and Luke Rockhold was like, "What's up, Anderson? We gonna do this when you?"
Oh, really?
I was like, "I'll enjoy that."
Oh yeah, yeah.
That never happened.
That would have been fun.
Damn
though.
you, Bisping.
That would have been a good one though. That honestly would have been a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your take on that? And maybe we'll finish up after this at this point. What's so you're also a one judge, or you've judged one. I don't know what your situation is now, but it's different when you're there on the floor, right? You've been an official for a bunch of stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
when you see some stuff live, it's pretty crazy. You judged speaking of, we've talked about this. You judged the Christian Lee Akrayun fight.
Correct.
Okay. Let's touch on this. Let's touch on this. You say whatever you feel like you can say, and anything you feel like you can't say, please
Tell us
say
that.
it. Please still say it.
Anything you feel you can't say, can you say after we turn the cameras off?
So anyway, what was your take on this fight? You were one of the judges. Again, your take, as long as it doesn't get you thrown into Chatri's jail.
I think I'll address the criticism that was laid out towards us from
mainly from this
like,
podcast.
From like
the
fighters as well.
Yeah.
Like, there was like, one place is attempting to finish like above all, and Christian attempted 2 submissions, and I was like, did you see those submissions? And like one of them, like it's and you're a judge, so it's like it's a near submission.
Yeah, what qualifies as a near finish? It's at a certain point it's subjective. At a certain point it's objective, right?
Yes. So it's
both.
The 2 submissions, like one was like they were stood up, and he had his back, and he went for a rear naked choke, and Ock sort of went, I'm gonna strip your hook, I'm gonna turn out this, right? And I was like, okay, that's not near submission then.
I guess they qualified it as penetrating the chin.
I don't think he did it.
I think he had the chin beat, but he didn't have the back full. It was like in a transitionary, and he scraped it. I haven't seen it in a while. I can't remember exactly, but something felt like
I had
that.
to watch it a few times after that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
No, but again, if you go for like a bulldog,
you didn't qualify it as a near submission.
No.
Oh.
Okay, and then the other one was like the DOS,
Yeah.
and Ox countered to that was I will stand up. So again, I'm not like if. And then, what I thought was really useful was that 2 days later, Brian Ortega and Volkanovski fought.
Yeah.
And I was like, that guillotine,
that's
a near submission. Yeah. That triangle, also near submission.
That's like.
I was like, well, I felt, as in, so from that perspective, yeah. And then.
Did you think Ock had won the in-betweens? Mostly?
The
stuff
striking?
Yes. Let's assume that we're taking the near subs out.
Yeah.
Based on the
I thought he had.
it was a fucking close fight. It was a fucking close fight.
I thought, they both
That
hurt
is
each
literally,
other.
in my
So
mind as a
then-
judge, it literally comes down to that near finish category.
Yeah. They both hurt each other.
Yeah.
And I cancelled that out, like, on the night. And then, on the night as well, like, the punches and the strikes in general that Ark was throwing were, like, harder.
You could hear it.
I could hear them more. Like, so I was like, there's venom there.
Yeah, when you're cage side, you can really hear and see everything at a way different level than
Yeah. So then there's that, and then I mean the other thing with judging, like how many events have you done?
One.
How many fights were
I'm
that?
super experienced. I feel like I can weigh in on this topic fully. And
which seat were you?
I was 2.
Okay, that was the one I'm normally in. So you took my job.
Hey.
There's a lot of blind spots there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of blind spots.
No, that was actually one of the things I was concerned about because I didn't know if there were monitors or not. But there are definitely, I don't know what the rule is, right? For me, when they went into a blind spot where the pillars are there, I just turned around and I looked at the big screen.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what you're supposed to do. No one told me.
That's what I would do. Or the first few events I did, I didn't sit down. I'd stood up, and if they went to a blind spot, I'd move so I had a better.
That's not bad. You are more alert too when you stand up than when you're sat down.
But there's still stuff you miss because they move in there. They move quick, and a punch doesn't take long. And like something in the lands that like in your blind spot.
Yeah.
Like how do you score it? And so.
And do you know what the other thing is that I found? It was like. Because you're expected to take notes.
You look down.
You look down, you write a note, you look up, and all of a sudden, like, literally in 1-2 seconds, things can change.
Do you remember that double knockdown knockout fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked down. Like,
really?
Yeah,
and all of a sudden you look up and then people are
like, I look up, I hear like the impact go, and then I see both of them fall down. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, this is a thing, and it's really unfair to even expect that you can't, when you're expecting people to take notes, there are seconds that it's guaranteed. Yeah. Your eyes are going to be down because you have to make a note. Yeah. And stuff happens in that couple. I'm literally like, right? If you're listening to this, I'm like looking up, looking down really quick. I'm looking up because I'm not trying to miss the action, but I got to take these notes.
So I'd argue like a lot of my notes are pretty poor because like for certain events, like some of my notes would be pretty poor because I would be trying to pay attention and then write notes at the end of the round.
Yeah, that's
and then when you do that, like you're doing it on feel. But then there've been other things. I think I was I can't remember what the fight was, but like there was a fight where they went like there's the advertising hoarding in the cage, so that's like that wide or a foot wide for the listeners.
See, you're onto it now.
Yeah.
Nice.
All about the production quality here. But they
as
both,
you can tell by the stuffed dog.
They both went through
next
it.
to you.
And they both like walked past that, and then one fighter comes out of it and he's grabbed his face, like to be like, and I was like, oh god, that whatever happened there must have been bad, and the referee doesn't do anything, and then someone on the other side of the cage was like, no, he was arguing like he got headbutted, but the ref didn't see it, and I didn't see it, so I was like, oh god, that's.
You just see the reaction, and then your brain is trying to piece together what happened here.
And like, when's the only real time I've seen someone like get hit in the face and go like it's like Rory McDonald after like that Robbie Lawler fight.
Yeah.
And I was
like a hard shot landed.
I was like, that must have been hard. Oh no, that was when Cowboy broke someone's jaw and the guy was just like, nope.
Yeah, just no
more.
Of it. Yeah.
So it's you know. Yeah,
there's a reasonable amount of human error that you have to expect no matter what.
And
it's subjective.
They're quick to ask you for. They're quick to ask you for that card.
It's 2 seconds. It's 5 seconds. Like literally, I'm trying to like sign my name, and like the fight ends. I'm writing. I sign my name. Some dude's tapping me on the shoulder. I'm like, whoa, okay, let me just do this real quick. And then someone came up to me and they're like, you don't have to write the fighter's name down. Just write red or blue corner. It'll be faster. And I was like, oh yeah, that's on me. Yeah, you know what I mean. I'm learning. I'm still on the job, guys. Let me. Sorry.
You've done it wrong. That seat, blue corner is on your left, red corner is on your right, and on the sheet, blue corner's on the left, red corner's on the left, blue corner's on the right.
David's like low key, like, so there was one time I marked everybody as the winner that was actually the loser because.
No, I have on once I have sprinted around to the main judge and been like, no, I meant the other one.
I had a moment, it was just a paranoia moment, but I had a moment where something like that happened. I wrote it, I filled out the card, the guy tapped me, I gave him the card, and then I was like, did I just write the wrong names?
Yeah.
Just because the fear, it was fine. It was the unanimous decision. But the fear popped up in my head of being, because you're still slightly aware that you're being scrutinized. Right? Yeah. As you do with a job, like you're playing you're a judge, you're performing a vital role, and if you fuck it up, people lose money, or there's a lot of things that go wrong, so you're expected to be on point, which you fucking should be. But at the same time, you're still learning and everything. And I just had that moment flare up in the back of my head. And I was like, oh, did I write the wrong? Oh, you know what it was? No, I remember exactly what it was. It was the Mikey Musumeci fight.
You don't have to give that a decision. It's a submission.
I know, but you still have to turn in the card, right?
Okay.
So it's Musumeci and Imanari. And they're experimenting. Did you catch it? Did you catch that match?
I've seen it. Yeah.
So Suleiman is yelling out, catch, right? And then they have this new system that they're experimenting with on the judging card. And there was a position that, so when they were in the 50-50, and I could see that Imanari had his ankle, but Musumeci also had his ankle. And then there was like the center line of where they were hand fighting was blocked by the thing. And I'm turning around and trying to catch it on the big screen. And then I hear Suleiman yell, catch. And then I remember writing it down for Imanari because I thought he had the bigger bite on the ankle. And then there was like one or two more catches that happened. And then I remember thinking, like, oh shit, did I count the catch for the wrong person? Because they were in a 50-50 and my view wasn't perfect. And I was like, I think Imanari had the bite and that was where it came from. And then, but I just got into my head about that cycle. And it's very quick in the moment. You only have a few seconds to decide. And you're using like tertiary logic because I didn't see it.
Yeah.
So you start being like, okay, well, based on the position that they were in and the grips they both have, who was most likely the one that had the most effective position when the catch was there, and I couldn't quite see it because of the position of the cage.
But it's taken you 2 minutes to explain this, and you had 6 seconds to make that decision.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. And then I just remember again being very paranoid, like, oh man, I hope I didn't screw that up. I hope I make sure I got the right thing because the last thing I want to do is be wrong. Yeah. Oh, is Kaishon fighting right now?
I'm trying to work it out. Sorry, I'm being really distracted.
No. I didn't realize until you said, you know Kaishon.
Yeah.
Do you know Kaishon? So he's fighting the top Korean flyweight prospect. Is this him right now?
No. But I can't work out whether he's already fought and we missed it or he's coming up next. I'm not sure.
Instagram is probably...
No, I've tried, but...
So then he must not have fought yet because somebody would have posted something.
Yeah.
Unless it was disastrous and then they would post nothing.
Well, Bizarrely...
As you do
Bizarrely,
competition.
Yeah.
You post when you win, when you lose, you say nothing.
But I checked Major...
You lick your loons quietly.
I checked Major as well and nothing.
In jiu-jitsu competition, you can say you lost the eventual winner. In an MMA fight, that's a given.
Yeah. Or in jiu-jitsu, you can get on the podium and having lost every match, you can be like, third place.
Yeah.
Third place. You know what I mean?
Still a medal.
How many people were there? These are not important questions to ask. All right, man. Well, so where's your gym opening up?
So we're opening up in 1 North, just above the MRT station in Fusionopolis.
That's a nice place.
It's exciting.
That's a really nice mall. Yeah. That's a super nice place. When do you start?
I got keys today. Oh. Actually.
How's the gym coming along? That whole process is a fucking nightmare, right?
That's our podcast and a half, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. Listen, we could have done a whole podcast on opening up a business in a martial arts school just alone.
So maybe podcast 70 and a half will be.
What's the next sexually explicit number? Like after 69, what's the most sexual number?
96.
No, like.
I mean, it's just a reverse. Wait, no, it doesn't. Well, that's a weird.
Wait.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, what's the second sexiest number? Is the question.
6.9. 690, sorry. No, 169.
169, and the one's a woman.
Okay. So the point is, the next time David comes back will be the sexiest podcast. The next sexiest podcast we have. How about that?
There we go.
How about that,
That
people?
works.
All right, dude. So 1 North, if you're training, you're gonna do what kind of classes are you gonna have? BJJ, Muay Thai, boxing,
SG,
or no, not
submission
striking.
Grappling, SG squared. Primary school maths for everyone there. It'll be mainly grappling. It's me and my coach Chance, so we've mainly got grappling experience.
Gi, no gi, judo. You're gonna do judo? You have to do judo, right?
I'm gonna call it all grappling, and then
you just try to sneak those judo moves in there. You have to.
The idea is like well-roundedness for everyone. So
the takedowns and the trips and the throws, you got to sneak those in there. Yeah. You advertise that shit, people won't come. We had a judo class for a while, no one came. Yeah. Right? I got to make it jiu-jitsu class, and then I got to sneak it in there. And they show up, and now they have no choice but to deal with it. It's the only way.
You have to dare me to take shots in wrestling competitions as well. So
this has happened multiple times. When Major and Shinya and I did like an in-house competition, we decided that we were going to take shots for anybody that pulled guard.
Yeah.
Our mistakes were that we told everybody that was the deal. And we thought it would backfire. We thought everybody would be pulling guard like mad just to get us drunk. And for whatever reason, our students respected us. I can't figure it out. If I was in that same situation, I'm pulling guard all day just to see what happens.
They wanted you to have a bad time.
Pulling guard, standing up, pulling guard again.
And I was literally like looking at my guys, I'm like, will someone pull guard so I can take a shot? Come on, guys. Can we get on the same page here?
Yeah.
All right, dude. David Wheat. We finally did this, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for being on the podcast. Let's do it again. We got to get you on the regular cycle of guests on here.
We have a big panel.
Are we doing the commentary again soon? We need to do that again.
You, me, and Major. Put events on, haven't they?
You, me, and Major is a nice 3-punch combination.
Yeah. Got to ask Oz, Tiff, you putting an event on?
Yeah. So that's how I didn't meet you from there, but that was how I kind of got like reintroduced to you in like a jiu-jitsu environment. So that's really fun, man. I love doing the commentary.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's more fun than judging for sure.
Yes.
Commentary is the most fun outside of like actually fighting or competing.
Yeah, by miles, because judging, you've got to, try and be objective. Commentary.
Yeah.
Got to try and be.
I think we need to get on that more as like a real thing. We need to start to figure out how to leverage ourselves.
You ever thought of doing Hot Mic?
What's Hot Mic?
It's like an app where you can, it's like, so you do fan commentary, so you tell people, like, this is the time code. So it's better for, like, sports with, like...
I didn't know this was a thing.
It's good for, like, football and stuff, because there's a running clock, so you just be like, I'm at 46, 34 seconds, 35, 36...
Wait, what's it called?
Hot Mic. So
I didn't know this
you
was
can
a
do,
thing.
like, alternative commentary for events.
Oh. Is it popular? Is it like a well-known thing? This is the first time I'm hearing about
it. I've used it once or twice, but I think it could take off.
Yeah, we need to get on that. I feel like we're a good crew. I feel like
the problem is like with that sort of thing is they because you watch football and like you get like fan commentary, but you can never turn it on like during the match. They're like it's a little spectacle for like the meme show like the next day. It's like, look at the fan commentary, look at how they reacted. I'm like, no, but I want to see the whole match with this.
Yeah. So
because I want to see like the really partisan takes on like everything.
Yeah, because it's crazy.
Yeah.
Just see. Yeah, it's like a reaction video, right? At a certain point, you just see how people react to it.
Because especially like, I mean, I don't know. You could try it with one because you got a lot of people there with really shit haircuts.
Yeah, that's true.
And you could just have a whole match. I remember like one match like I tried. You like sometimes you don't know who the fighters are. So you try and like write something and to differentiate between them. So one of them comes out, it's like, all right, he's got a really shit mullet.
Yeah.
And the next one comes out, he's got an even shitter mullet.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. That's true. And there's actually a market for it. I mean, when we did
we got views.
When we did the live 1X podcast, we had like 3.5K views just on us sitting here. We're literally just wasted watching the fights, talking
talking about the
all
fights.
We did. That's the only thing that we did. I literally couldn't believe it. We got into the conversation with this dude who was watching us from Canada, who was just... We were doing a game where someone would type drink into the chat, and then we would just sit here and then be drinking. By the end, we weren't even making sense, and people liked it.
So get a Patreon going for it.
Yeah. See me get... No, I'll just end up... I don't need any more motivation to get drunk, okay? That's the last thing that I need is to make it financially viable for me to get drunk online. All right, dude. All right, let's wrap this thing up. David Wee, thank you for coming, man. This is overdue. Let's do it again.
Yeah, for sure.
Really, really fun. Jake, thank you. Doing all the hard work.
Thank you.
Everybody, this is the Stronghold Podcast. This is episode 69, and don't you forget it. Give it to us, David. Give us the clap.
Wait, no.
Hold on.
Outro first.
Outro, then the clap.
See? Been doing it a while now. I know what's up.
Go for it, Jake. There we go. And now you can